November 22nd, the daily reflection, only two sins. This is a quote from Alcoholics Anonymous, page 542. There are only two sins. The first is to interfere with the growth of another human being, and the second is to interfere with one's own growth. Wow, fascinating. I had to see this inside and see the context, as we always do, and try to understand it. Well, I looked inside, it's not there. And I found this is not in the fourth edition, which is what I have. It's in the third edition. So finally, I searched and searched, and I found one in a club this morning, and I printed it, and I read the story. It's actually an unbelievable story. Divine Providence finding this story. It's been deleted. One of the 6 stories that were deleted in the fourth edition. This is in the third edition, story 11, called He Who Loses His Life. Absolutely fascinating. It's really my story. I'm so thankful to have found this. So let's go back to page 542. Incredible sentiment he shares. He writes, many people in AA have said, I wish everyone could be in AA. And if everyone were there would be no need for jails, in my opinion. A lot of corrections in the world we wouldn't need. Everyone should be working a program for spiritual growth. For I am happy. I thought I could never be happy. A happy man is not likely to do harm to another human being. Harm is done by sick people, as I was sick and doing dreadful harm to myself and to my loved ones. So that's the context of this story. I see the whole story, how this man, who was, as he goes on to say, 54 years old, which I'm turning now. I so relate to this story. And he was starting a whole new life because of AA. And he realized that when you're healthy, you don't cause harm to yourself or to others. Here's our paragraph. For me, AA is a synthesis of all the philosophy I've ever read, all the positive, good philosophy, all of it based on love. This is a core. He goes on later to say this is the core of religion, divine love and its healing strength. That's all philosophy is based on love. I have seen that there's only one law. If you're going to categorize laws of the world, laws of life, the law of love. And here's our quote. That was the ... And there are only two sins. The first is to interfere with the growth of another human being. And the second is to interfere with one's own growth. Very beautiful insight of this AA. His name is Bob, as he goes on to say. So I'd like to share first, before the reading from the daily reflection, what our Torah has to say about this concept. Are there really only two kinds of sins? Well, these are both absolutely true. And the words that we use to categorize it is sins between man and his fellow man. You're hurting another human being. That is definitely a category of sin. And the other sin category that he's referring to is what we call bein adam la'atzo, man to himself. You're hurting yourself. And those are really similar. They're in the same two subcategories. What he's saying, everything, I think maybe this is why it was deleted from the stories, although they write in the preface to the fourth edition, they deleted stories they felt weren't relevant to people at the times. Well, what he leaves out here is there is another category, which is sins between man and God. The relationship between every person should have, God of his understanding, have a close, loving relationship with God. That's the one thing that's left out of the categories of sin. I think he means that in the law of love, maybe that's what he's referring to. That's basis of everything else in life. From there, from that connection to God and love, don't have a sin in the only law of life. Maybe that's what he means. That's the other category. But then we have practicing. It's really in AA, the 12 steps. The first 7 steps are getting straight with God. And then the last 5 is bringing that into life with other people. And that's really this concept that he's saying here. The law of the world is love. That's connection to God, I believe he means, as he goes on later and says, divine love. And the two sins, taking that love and applying it to others and to yourself, those categories. So, very beautiful sentiment. Person should be focused on those categories in life, his relationship with God, and applying that love to himself and to others. Today's reflection by a fellow AA member is as follows. Happiness is such an elusive state. How often do my prayers for others involve, quote unquote, hidden prayers from my own agenda? How often is my search for happiness a boulder in the path of growth for another or even myself? Seeking growth through humility and acceptance brings things that appear to be anything but good, wholesome, and vital. Yet, in looking back, I can see that pain, struggles, and setbacks have all contributed eventually to serenity through growth in the program. I ask my higher power to help me not cause another's lack of growth today or my own. A very beautiful feeling from our fellow AA, a reflection, which is the happiness of life. We have our own selfish motives. We know that. We need to do our 10th step, make our constant inventory of ourselves. What are we doing this? Peel back the onion. Why are we doing? What are our motives? What are we praying for others? What do we care about others? This is absolutely true in Judaism. We say that the only true kindness we do to others is after they leave this world. We involved in eulogies and burial, because any time we do kindness to others, we always have in the back of our mind, we're going to be repaid for it. So this is always true going on. It's just the nature of the beast, the nature of humanity, is we're thinking of ourselves, but we should be aware of that and try to focus to try as much as possible to be pure and loving and caring for others. And what a powerful message that when we go through the challenges of life, the ups and downs of life, life gets lifey, as they say in AA. We see these struggles and the setbacks are all, nothing happens by chance, as we say in acceptance on page 417 in the 4th edition. Nothing happens, acceptance, and nothing happens in God's world by accident. Hashem, God runs this world. Everything that's happening is for a purpose. And when a person is living with God in his life, he will see that everything is exact curriculum helping you along the way. And even though it seems like there's pains, there's struggles, there's setbacks, stay with the program. And eventually you'll see that those things themselves were the catalyst to bring to growth. That is the growth of this program. So this happiness, which this fellow says is elusive, is really what the story is talking about. That I am happy. The happiness from AA is living this life of caring spiritually about God and about yourself and about your fellow man. And we absolutely should, in this 11th step, pray and meditate about these topics, that we shouldn't cause lack of growth to myself and to others. Both in the story and in the reflection, they put the other one first. I would just want to point out that it's very beautiful to do that, but practically, as they say on the airplane, save yourself before you could save someone else. You can't really give to others until you care for yourself. So that is the guidance of the Torah. It's in the Talmud. The person needs to have self-love, self-care about spiritual growth, not selfishness, about spiritual growth. And then you can share that light with others, which is really primarily the 12th step. So may God help us all to continue growing today and every day, one day at a time, in spiritual growth, in caring about God, loving God and ourselves and our fellow man. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.